Umuchomano Nairobi, Kisii, Nyamira, n'ekigo kindi cy'ensi ya Kenya. Abariki baitomba bakorentera mangana magia asenchira y'obwikirano. Emanya mange nabo igobwatira Y'Ensoko TV koigeka chingenjo cy'omugusi. Y'Ensoko TV, oboroso bw'omugusi. Tomo chago tengere merobere ito yogosemia na gukumanya yago korekana kira lituko nabariki baitu be andrete chinga kichons asengencho yao ealiganie asobo tengali botali no mubwekano. Eye Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bw'omugusi. Umuruburi kubwatia nabo kurigirirwa na kiro muntu.
Mwancho mulgerelia nyine Jumatano yitukilia 25 na kabere mutinyo gatano mwaka 2025 no mwesenchera yabene chinsa hinye chamambe chapture chidagika hange 14 gato chaka bene mu rubiri Etorobini imehegete sendikia okiabene Y'Ensoko TV kwa kiranga mnyamono osoko chora kuligirelia gosoncha na gotengera hegete sendikia okiabene Y'Ensoko TV eketo chigo chaka mu rubiri oyega Etorobini emambia yabonega nani go gotubwate goterese metara yeto yakrero gari Facebook no to live no tubwate goterese semeria YouTube no nyani go semeria ya Twitter mane mitando yende mingi abayigo nabo okoba todikerali huko senti abene goterese metara yeto ya Facebook nabo igese namba erese screen ga umanya gotebanga yo wate tukure mambe yabona iganene ekali byarige siasa igenda tekwende kibwase imeyense ya Kenya katoro cyo cholebwe nabwo mwaka 2025 nebere ubore mutu omwaka ogocha nigoto cyo kwandira mange esemambia yabonega nituko yegoro omwaziri w'ibizara yeni bogose mwaziri nibo John Mbadi no arenge sinsemwa cha ajivanji gali agakwana bakenya nabego okorwa amaraye igoro finance bill ego chikosomwa se budget ye ego chikosomwa omutienyi ogatano na kabere nigo ndigatika kwana mange nonye nigo mwanchu mwerya nigo bono abaremi bawo chikonyoro mweso kusabaremi ibe tugeria ye chinsu ose fish farmers bawo chikonyoro mweso senchira bene mega yabwatani au wesoke yaligote makonya na kwikindi bunyamasi obaremi nabo igo konyoro chinsu chinyinge chirakonya senchira yendagera ime agency yiga ya Kenya na nigo nekero homokonyi bo maraibwense Professor Abraham Kidure Kindiki akoretara yego sagendrete bikaro bya matuko gosama tukato imeyanse mere ya duyani ase hakwanira igoro yesukali ese bikaro bya Sugar Organization Conference ebye 55 karibu 67th Sugar Conference International Organization ebyensenge mayibigendera takorekana asensemo ya diani meye county ya Kware na niga bereka kwandira emiroberi ao ya serikali yabeka bagekobeka hiriko kikone kinga abaremi beskali ngo kibare konyoro mwesra bayigo ekemegyo skali ngo tingubukira nenekera kenda kugwatu nemelindo ao iyo enderete kwenekia ase chikamani au chiskana bego asabari mibeskari mense ya Kenya awereko babakwenyora semechande menge asamatuko abwango iga nyenigo amanga bereko bakako kwano kurese bikarebyo ase nonye bonega omosiesi opio wadanyi abereko bakako kwanira gusikago tarachi chikwe chi petrol station au ereko ni kinga magori ya yabeke naro ago ikani bwa petrol station akateta ya ese county ya Nairobi na bega ese county ya Machakos sasa taka kwana mange na koma na bwatani au obet sector yeyo iri kwene kinga amagori ya mabuta ngo barega bakubikujana nigo niga ene tena nibuna ne bamagori abereka bakawukira n'ikisege kigendera cya Sansemere ya Middle East nigo mabutari mense ya Kenya aisaine na abakenya bayochikanya bakuremera mabutane bakare eligori irya igoro kigima ayunga tiana mange to chikwato kwane mambi yabonega ime Etorobini ese enchera ere ya bene konene tumasikenyeranga ko ikankunde chikosori ya Keigo nigo bono timu ya karate go taekwondo ya ikire yense ya Madagascar ya ikire mense ya Kenya bune timu entangana kabisa asa chikosori chigo cha karit kolian kiyo ikarit kulimete kemero 3 nemo imeyegeti Kenya Stadium Gymnasium Arena gose indoors games yecho chiakarate na ni go timu ya Madagascar ko bege timu ya Kenya ngati timu chinde 10 nemo kiri chigo ikirana ase amashindana yo akarate igaiga mense akayo tono kugenanga timu ya Kenya ne chiko korabuya hasa gosori baliwe ebosori ya karate ese kero Madagascar bwatagati ya bagosori ya sana abo bagosori ya egosori ya karate no nyeni gonsi kiande 10 mwancho mwerelia omusubati gosomo kocha we club Kiharambe Starets timu ya basubati yense ya Kenya Beldin Ode November babere ko bakagweso kena korete bene ege gusina kurubena marieta yabagosori emeronge bere na bane bari bagochikana na sekambi ya megire bosiga so yoko bosani chikubata ni chinse inye ngotenze ya Zambia, Burkina Faso, Zimbabwe amonense ya Kenya chitariki 5 nemo wekatariki kianda Chomo tienyogo chana buna botambe abasubati kororwa ngo rwagusebere bakorangirwe se ikosi ekingo makwanda aronda nyarinda nyabuto omu midfielder aye club keria gya Police Bullets amo na Emily Kemuto muranganere ore striker ye club ya Police Bullets iga meyense ya Kenya bonsi barangiri ubene go cyase ikosi kya Rambe Stars keria cyo amegerio bosiwe cyo cyo kubusani bune nchere mu yo kweriganya asitiko soli icha Afcon yorense ya Africa ngima y'abasubati mu tienyoga 5 na gatatu korende bunende omugosoli Corazona Queen experience player babere ko bakagotwe ko squad yo sentunda ya gatoto kikubwatanya abono manyanigo Beldina na mete engencho ya gochora aba ose abochora abaike abana sikose gochora abagosori bali baye sentera ere ya bene Thomas kwebanga siasa igochige tukubwatanse asensemo yebungeria All Kalau mwanchi mwireria asebono hikiama kiria gya DCP ya kerego na goikerine masakara yumuranire wekeroge kyobo chumbe kama ungodo ese entera ere ya bene ekero turigere tiko twara by elections chile chindi kianda gekomi katie kiama gya DCP amane kiama keria kyomora ibwense GUDA ase ensemi yoye bunge ya All Kalau esebono tuchikurigirira ningo watu bunyamasi igaigana bagochitema gwetie mana na gusaliyo bunyansi kwene kingo watu bunyamasi waisaine asensemo ye bunge yo gatia DCP amo agose amone kiama keria gya serikali kia UDA yekora unomora ibwense Daktari William Samoei Ruto asebono amange yabere kubakago kwanirwa asenchera ere ya bene esenchera ya bene mwancho mwirira emambia ayabone iga nigo bone Etorobini abereke ko chaka esenchera erentero nende gotogwa kiranga myamono so wikaranza kwao osonche egoikomwe buna botambe mega yemenyoncho etarionde egotatiga Joshua Nyauma wakunya director Zack tobene kinga emerobiri yengo ikiranere esenchera ere eyabene ekanye Etorobini ya chakire bene emambia yabone iga. Karibu tochake bene Etorobini mambi yabone go mwanche muri astogo chakera no muganonga bono ekere kyama kere gya DCP ye kiribena masakara yomurwaneri bwekero kyubo chumbe asensemo yebunge ya All Kalau nkomo kwandra kama ngodo nigo bona bare abeso kiri ase bakwanira bana inchi benseme yu ase bana inchi bangesana beso gati nagatege rega tia bwata nibe kyama kere gya DCP bakro na John Medu uyaba kwa kago chorwa buno masakara general we wose ebwe ekubwata nibwe egesiasa bwa DCP amatuko abwango iga nabayigo oyonde barenge namo na jwe nyodu musaneta jwe nyodu no alinge gali sponsor beka netena so bwamo ni gwatuka bako mwakereko ko kama ngodo ase habete bakago tebanga nero jikranya magendero asensemi yono ni gokwana nabana inchi umurwaneri bwekeroge kyo kama ngodo ni gogose kama ngodo niga ene kiribuna igago chikirania mangana yeji basari chibero mo chanda asensemo yebungeyo na kwene kinga agoika obosibore bobo asama somo yensemi yo asebona tebirenga ego chikirania magendero aigati abo estima no nyinigo gochia gokeania amagori ye ebinto asensemeyo nawe gokwene kinga abanafunzi ngosoma bari asenchira ire yabe turagira ngo chinkwana cyabare yabo kurensemeyo ya All Kalau
Wewe William Ruto, wewe unasema unataka kuleta maendeleo hapa All Kalau. Wewe tulikuchagua kama rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya kwa miaka 4 kabla Kiarao hajaaga. Ulikuwa wapi? Hii maendeleo unasema utafanya kwa miezi 8, miaka 4 ulikuwa wapi? Wewe tumekujua na tumekuchanuka. Wewe tunakuheshimu, lakini wewe William Ruto, wewe tunakuheshimu, lakini All Kalau ndio huyu William Ruto, huyu hapa. Wewe William Ruto, wewe tunakuheshimu, lakini wewe wakiongozwa na seneta ya Nyandarua Getugati Kavamezo.
Nataka niseme kwamba sisi tumekuja hapa kuunga mkono Kamau Godho, na tumemuuliza, je, wewe Kamau unataka kuchaguliwa ufanyie watu wa Olkalau nini? Akasema kwamba anataka shule zenu watu wapatiwe basari kwa njia ya usawa. Hiyo ni sawa. Akasema atafuatilia stima zenu kule hakujaunganishwa kuunganishwe. Tuko sawa? Wapi watu wa Kamau wa Godho? Watu wa Kamau wa Godho? Na akasema atafuatilia University of Nyandarua ambayo inajengwa hapa. Si huyo ni kiongozi?
Na nimekuja na one message ya kwamba hii Olkalau tunawapenda, tunawaheshimu na tunawapea nafasi ya kuhakikisha mlima yote imeshikana. Tumeshikana kutoka kule mlima Kenya ya Embu Meru mpaka huku Olkalau, ili tuhakikishe tuko kitu moja. Mimi nataka mshikilie huyu jamaa anaitwa Godho. Huyu jamaa huyu mwenye anyoi kama medhu huyu. Wangapi watapea huyu jamaa kura? Watapea huyu jamaa kura? Huyu jamaa mtamshukuru. Na mimi nataka kuambia kitu moja. Sisi tulikuwa na by election mahali inaitwa Mbere. Kasongo alileta miti, akaleta miti ya stima. Wakati walichagua huyo jamaa anaitwa Muthendeko pekee, akachukua miti yake akaenda. Sasa huku Olkalau mukiletewa kitu yoyote, mujue hii ni kupakwa mafuta ili mudanganywe, muuze rorere. Nikisema harambe, munasema hatuuzi rorere, si ndio? Muko tayari? Muko tayari? Harambe! Harambe!
Atereri andũ aitũ tũrĩetagĩrĩra mũndũ akua nĩgetha tũreherwo maendeleo. Tũrĩetagĩrĩra mũndũ akua tũreherwo maendeleo. Githe Kasongo tiwe ũkĩte gũkũ Nyandarua akarugũria barabara maita mana agĩcokagĩra githe tiguo? Nĩtũgwĩtĩkĩra kũhenio? Ni muongo si muongo? Ni muongo si muongo? Aende asiende? Hii ni vita ya Kasongo. Hii ni vita ya Kasongo na Rigathi. Nani atashinda? Nimewashonalithia maneno wito. Harambe! Asanteni sana Nyandarua, macho yetu iko juu yenu na tunajua mtafanya vile mnahitaji kufanya. Asante.
Hii ofisi ya CDF, yule tunashindana na yeye alisema kijana atafanya secondary school education free. Tumuulize, miaka 13 umekuwa kwa hiyo ofisi, ulikuwa na chance ya kufanya hivyo, haukufanya. Maikaita na Kasongo atweka otake modo wako hendania. Mimi nilisema tuko na shule 41 day secondary school. Mambo ya kupanga laini tunamaliza tukichukua ofisi. Basari mtakuwa mna apply nyumbani, unapatia mtoto form, anarudisha huko shule, inachukuliwa, tunawapea, zinapeleka wapi? Shule. Zinaenda wapi? Tutaangusha hiyo school fees ili mzazi hatutaki kuona hata mtoto hata mmoja akienda nyumbani during the school days. Mambo ya stima mimi nitafuatilia vilivyo. At least kila nyumbani omoshio na ke. Hiyo ni right yetu kama watu wa Olkalau, ama sivyo? Maraitire makenge mathitima demo uriado ito. Zaishire twena mobuge. No thirikari nĩ ĩraruta wĩra. Ko thirikari nĩ ĩraruta wĩra. Ko to mwaka ĩkorwo mũmbunge wa thirikari nĩgetha ĩrute wĩra. Tondũ nĩ wĩra wayo kũruta wĩra. Katigwo andũ aitũ. Hau ĩtigwo wĩra wa thirikari. Ĩtũrutĩre wĩra. Ĩtwĩkĩre thitima. Ĩtwĩkĩre bara. Na niĩ ta Kamau wa Godho ndĩrakire kamera. Umeahidi hawa watu fanya. Ama sivyo?
Nchomwirĩrie chine chinkwana kurua sensemo yebunge ya Olkalau kutoka ime county ya Nyandarua asa siasa chikire tukubwata nsebo sibo chorio bokebo gochiko korekana chitariki 15 na mocho mutinyo gocha magagajo gosira kwa hayo kabero mubunge hebwe nsemo yebunge yo David Njuguna Kiaru yobeteka gosiro gima bwanya matukabu ango iga nabona iga nigo bochero gochiko korekana chitariki 15 cho mutinyo yo iga ogocho mutinyo sita na ase kagere gochiko baige tiringiga tindi gati ya DCP Rigathi Gachagua ama na UDA kya yomura ibwense Daktari William Samoei Ruto kwende togotigana itiga tuske mutu mwanchi mugia sebono omwaziri omwana wa waziri mense yakina bwo mwazira mwensi chesiko Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi abere koba kagukwene kyanga chisege chigendeta sense mo ya Middle East na chire obo amagori amabutako kine imeyense ya Kenya nabo kwirira bogi magokonga asengencho ya magori yebintu abere koba igokina asege sara na guchinsara ime ya matuko agwango igana nigo omukonyi gose nigo omwana wa waziri Musalia Mudavadi akwanire osobe imegoro yendwari area ya Ebra genderete kwene kyama kweri amange ya sense mo ya DRC Congo asate birunenga negikoretwa nembe na nigera samba yeschinse aho ime ya rugongo rwa Afrika rene nigo bona ene kira bakenga kingekekire cyokena na to kwebwagiya munenga kiri ya COVID-19 mwaka 2022 asengencho tongekoba atokoba ale togukwana nibuya na westo gukwana ni tobere asobu ale tobeke chimaski na boigo toyene kiye habo chenu aho na machiko ali abegetwe matukamagega eri kwene kinga kwebeka torale na maroire ebunayo tango tara chinkwana cha Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi.
You don't know the value of what you have until you lose it. Sisi wa Kenya tusicheze. Mungu ametubariki. Tuko na amani. Tulinde hiyo amani. Tushirikiane. Yale yanafanyika kule Middle East. Mimi nimekuwa waziri wa fedha, kwa hivyo naelewa sana. Ile impact ambayo itakuja ndani ya uchumi wetu kwa sababu ya hiyo vita itachukua muda kung'oa. Itachukua muda kung'oa. Kwa mfano, jamii wengi ama familia nyingi zinatumia ile gas kupika chakula. Gas yetu inatoka Qatar. Kama hawarekebishi mambo na tuwe na amani, upungufu utaingia zaidi wa gesi. Na upungufu wa gesi ukiingia, jamii zitaelekea wapi? Zitaelekea kwa makaa na kwa kuni. Kwa hivyo ile agenda yetu ya kusema tulinde mazingira and when I talked about peace, mimi nilikuwa najua kwamba in Kenya since 1963, in spite of everything, we always come out of our election a united people. Different opinion, but united. Let us not lose that legacy. We are the only country in this region where you have had an election petition nullified. Election ya president inakuwa nullified, lakini watu wanarudi kupiga kura. Wanaamua, hawaendi kwa vita. So let us keep peace. Let us be united. Let us make sure that we invest properly in our health facilities. We have campaigns kama hii ya Kamau. Na Kamau, mimi nakupongeza sana na timu yako. This is the way to go. This is the way to go. Even for the young people who want to enter politics, this is it. I never tell people my story, but I entered politics at the age of 28. Just like a lot of you here. So it is possible, you can do it. But then you have to cultivate your own profile, your image. Build it. But you cannot build a profile of a crook, of a warlord, of mtu wa matusi. That's not the profile you want to build. Let us build, even as young people, as you enter this arena of politics, because we want you there. Tunataka muingie kwa hiyo siasa. But build a profile that will take Kenya far. That will make Kenya continue to be a respected nation amongst nations. That is what we want. That is what we are looking for. That is what we were born to do. We were not born to block roads, to throw stones, to insult each other, to abuse each other, to preach tribalism. That is not what we were born to do. So I came here because this was a very significant message. And this is a serious achievement. It's a story of courage. It's a story of freedom. Freedom from jiggers, freedom from poverty. This is what the presence here of this movement, a hardy movement, and this archive symbolizes. A story of freedom. As we speak to the Jigger Challenge today, I think it is important that as a nation we also appreciate that there is a new crisis, and this is the Ebola crisis. Therefore, I'm not a doctor per se, medical doctor, but I think the protocols that were observed around COVID time, it's important that we start appreciating those protocols so that we can save Kenyans from the risk of this dangerous strain of Ebola, which is taking many lives in other countries. So we need to be very, very careful. We need to sanitize again. We need to go through that detail. And I think we need to have a campaign because prevention is better than cure. And in this case, we don't know when the cure will be on the table because it is a strain that does not have, that cannot be treated. So we need to be now very careful again in terms of our hygiene, personal hygiene, and how we engage. This is something that I thought I owe it to you. Niwaeleze kwamba hiyo Ebola iko. Haijafika hapa, lakini imeanza kuchukua maisha ya watu. Kwa hivyo ile protocol tulikuwa nazo wakati wa COVID, tuanze kutumia tena ili tuhakikishe kwamba kuna usafi na tunakuwa careful, kwa sababu hatutaki Wakenya waanze kuumia tena kwa sababu ya maradhi kama yale ya Ebola. Kwa hivyo tafadhali tutumie nafasi hii, nafasi zote, na ndugu zetu wa media ambao mko hapa, I think don't wait. This is a very critical campaign. Let us bring awareness ili tusiwe na shida.
Mwancho mwililia kukwane kere kiokia ebikari vya hadi Kenya Trust ibikirintu na Musalia Mudavadi nigo nonye nigo Cecilia Mwangi ujore Mrs. World Kenya bwe mwaka w'ibiri na 10 osine chibu 2025 abeteko baga kwene kinga imbia osabeteko baga kumwakira mujya mono Musalia Mudavadi asuke anese ebikari bino ko basira ase abeteko baga kwene kinga nigo ebikari byo gose nigo obamo bwa hadi Kenya Trust weriko abo gwake itambe kere kenene ase hoikirania magani ao yaba Kenya nigo omosi gose na onigo omochaki gosomo founder ya hadi Kenya Trust Stanley Kamau nigo nonyenera abetoka baga kwene kimeruberi ao abereko baga kubika ide wikirania amagendro ao ime yekiombe kio kya hadi Kenya Trust turali ningo chinkua na chia Cecilia Mwangi hamo ona Stanley Kamau.
Musalia Mudavadi, distinguished guests, partners, family, Murega Rege. My name is Cecilia Mwangi, Miss World Kenya 2005. I dedicated my crown to support the Jigger affected and infected people. And today I'm a very happy person. And we ought to be happy as well because this is our collective journey. This is a journey that we have walked together for the past 19 years with the Hadi Kenya Trust and all of you who are in here. So we are here today to do more than just open a museum. We are here to put the jiggers to the archives where our stories are preserved. We have tried to contextualize everything we have done in 19 years in that archive. Our lessons that we've learned and our future is protected. For too long, jiggers have thrived in silence. Today, we choose to end that silence. By placing them in the history of archives, we honor the resilience of those who have lived through it. We have heard from it today. The dedication who have supported Ahadi Kenya Trust. We have community health promoters who are here. Then also we have the hope for the generation determined to end this menace completely. This museum and the resource center is more than just walls and an exhibition. It's a living learning space, open to public, designed to inspire action, research, innovation, collaboration. It serves as students, teachers, health workers, innovators, policymakers, and every visitor who wishes to understand the impact of the jigger eradication and the importance of dignity, hygiene, and community action. So this facility here is open to public, and feel part of it, own it.
Today, I'm here to make myself jobless. When you put the jiggers in the archives, you become, because there'll be no other job for me, but His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi ameniambia atanipanga in the next few weeks. But also allow me to announce today that in February coming year, I will make an announcement on my next move as I put the jiggers in the archives. Your Excellency, we started the anti-jigger campaign with 1,350 people. In 2008, when we did a research, we had 2.3 million Kenyans who were jigger infested. This year, we did our research, and we found we have less than 300 Kenyans who are jigger infested. That means our campaign has achieved over 90% success. And that's why we decided that we must put this campaign into the archives for people to learn. My dad and my mom are here. They can give you a story on how I was heavily infested with jiggers. For those who do manicure and pedicure, when I was a young boy, I used to do manicure using the cow's tongue. Nilikuwa napaka chumvi kwa mguu ya ng'ombe, naenda pale ulimi, inanifanya manicure na pedicure, naenda shule. And that's how I knew about manicure when I was in the village. I suffered a lot. In the village, I have my village mate, who was my classmate, Bishop Sami Samweri. At one point, lazima angenifunga kilemba so that the young boys would stop disturbing me, because we believed when you are a Mokorino, no one can touch you. Thank you very much, Sami Samuel. Ulinifunga kilemba lakini nikaremewa on the way. But today we are here and I appreciate you. And I'm a Seferian Mokorino. The journey has been very painful. I also put a lot of information into that archives. But I want to assure everybody that the Ahadi Kenya Trust may not continue with the anti-jigger campaign, but we are going to focus on many more projects so that we can eradicate poverty, which is a major cause of jiggers in this country.
Totigana itoske mutu wona yigo mwanchu mwereria asebono monogeri bwa serikali Isaac Mwaura esokirie na kunyegerera finance bill botuo kosekera matuka masimitinyemeka yatigaire tuchigosoma budget yenyi yebungene nyanigo kukwana nigaterenga abakenya nibo banta konyina soma wikirano ebanyare ko bakonye manyani nkiye kukwandira nyanigo nigagikeire na gutugutira ale chinkuma chiri abantu bande bagenda tegotebe simitandao inge finance bill nigo higerembe na nigo bagochia akonyerobekanira nigokeria tebirenga korengana Mwaura nigatebirenga ebangote yochikurusiwa ase bali bakonie metumba yona chianga chiri chigo chemeyense nese chigari no nigo chisimi korengana buna bande babatebe ase mitano nigabereka bakubagikiria agatebenga finance bill nigera osiri elio chikokonya abakenya anene osokugenderia magendro au emergency ya Kenya.
The government remains committed to creating a fair, transparent, and sustainable tax system that supports economic growth, digital innovation, and social equity. Towards this goal, the Finance Bill 2026 brings with it massive gains despite the negative criticism being advanced, especially on social media. And from the outset, we want to tell Kenyans, read the bill for yourself. Do not just listen to the negative energies, the misinformation or disinformation that we are seeing that is flooding the social media. Some people saying, oh, we are introducing some of those taxes. It is not true. There is no motor vehicle circulation tax. There is no tax for mitumba. We are not increasing capital gains for rent. There is no new taxation on mobile phones. All of those things are fake news. They are really fake news. And so therefore people need to understand the finance bill for what it is. Let us not, we need to take care of our children. Let us not leave them to strangers. Let them also work in groups when they are coming from school. And if you can, it's important that you make sure where your child is being dropped by the school bus, that there's security and there's someone waiting for the child. You need to be very careful because you don't know what is happening. Let's also sensitize our children that they should not just accept lifts or sweets or other niceties, telling them that, oh, come, do that, because we are living in very interesting times. However, the government remains committed to ensuring that we support, those whose children have been abducted. And it's good we report on the numbers provided, 0722 116 116 on WhatsApp, or toll free 116 116, so that we are able to move forward together.
Na togoska mutumwa nchimwireria kero kwarire yukago kwa Isaac Mwaura na nyanigo kwa gwire chinkwana chiae tutarashika guska mutu niga sentire abene aberekago kibori abaibori kubarinda bana baba ne bana bari myaka 15 nebere riyo kwene kinga ngobanyare bari ko basama go kamaya nekere bikorwa abya abana abasini mono gochererwa goitoro na abane gutibongwa rini bamanya goito na abande ko basiramba kaboneka manyiri sibari bigenda ta comment kana chinsemo au chiense ya Kenya nigo no nyabona Mwaura abereka batenge serikali abeke mirubiri kwene kinga bikora bune byo ngokibire ko era nabayigo obori abayibori namona babwatani aho kwene kinga abana bake ngomanya bare bakorendukira bakwende school batome no monto bayikire school yana kabakurusibwa toka mbago tigubara uboka ikiyagera kubonega magima abo berko bagako basa kumwana sama tukabonga bikora bune byo bocherera nonye no kubaita bigendera comment kana imense ya Kenya nene abana bari yacinya aruka mwanti mwe togoska mutubono nigo omwaziri goseni ngo yokabiro mwaziri bobarendi bwaime nabayigora mukonyi bumare weke amakeria gyajubiri kurije kero kyoborai wetera asekia mekyo gyajubiri Dr. Fred Okengo Matiangi abereka bakawe sokia na goteba ngabwerure bene gochia kuruanirira na kwirania marembe mense ya Kenya na kwirania ubuya essence ya Kenya asibonega goteba ense ya Kenya nigo erochi asabe Matiangi nigako yakwana yase omoyega bwo mweli boko mwenya mugakoyo Mosomali Tanjeroge uyore mubwata nimesana bwikia makeria gyajubiri bakawosirie obugima abwaye nigo agikeri siasa chobegesa ku korengana hanere niga abarayigete bagenderete kurwa sense media ya serikali bagenderete okwana chinkwana ico kirasege tobogesa ku imeyense ya Kenya nonye nigo nigareko bagako basaba bakenya kubeko murembe akara guchigwe sokia na kuba mustari mutu wo guchekuri yo barayibwense ya Kenya na yasalire ira yo gucheko bakonya abakenya kuruso musigo murito uyibagenderete egwetera hasema tukabangega egento kerero bugima abakenya kugendera gokonga ebirengo birebye goromona tango turagichinkwana cha Dr. Fred Okengo Matiangi.
Sisi tunataka kuwa watu wa mapenzi, watu wa amani, na tunaeneza injili ya kuishi pamoja kama nchi. Kwa sababu tukiwa na shida, kwanza mahali kama hapa Kajiado ndio itakuwa shida zaidi, kwa sababu kila Mkenya ako hapa. Kwa hivyo mkisikia wale viongozi, na ninawaomba wananchi, msifikiri eti kuna mtu mwingine atakuja kutufanyia hii kazi. Hii kazi ni sisi tutajifanyia na tutajituma. Wale watu ambao wanaongea maneno ya kugawanya wananchi na kutuambia desturi, mambo story eti kuhusu Wakikuyu, kuhusu wa Maasai, sijui wa Kisii, wa Kamba, watu kama hao msiwakubalie wakaribie uongozi, kwa sababu watatuharibia nchi yetu. Tafadhali, yeyote ambaye anaeneza, sisi tuko na marafiki. Nimekuja kwa hii mazishi na ndugu yangu anaitwa Bilali kutoka Mzambweni, huyu kiongozi wa Jubilee. Wakati tuliongea jana, wakati Rais Kenyatta alikuwa anatuweka sisi wote pamoja tutume hapa, hakusema anataka kutuma watu wa Narok ama wa Kajiado peke yake. Alisema anataka kutuma viongozi wa Jubilee wote, kutoka Pwani, kutoka hapa, kutoka Narok, kutoka Kiambu. Sisi tu ndugu na dada namna hiyo. Ya tuishi namna hiyo. Na mimi nawaomba tu, kwanza mtuombe, kwa sababu uongozi unatolewa na Mwenyezi Mungu. Tunaomba, na mimi naomba kwa unyenyekevu. Mwenyezi Mungu akitujalia, ile kazi tumefanya hapo mbeleni mnaijua. Sisi tutasimama kwa ukweli na tutasimama kwa kupanga kazi. Hata kama mkisema, wengine wetu mnasema we are no nonsense, hakika we don't accept nonsense kwa mahali ya kazi na vile nchi inatakiwa kuendeshwa. Kwa sababu hata Yesu alichukua kiboko akatoa watu walikuwa wanaharibu hekalu. Na uongozi pia unataka watu ambao wanasimama imara kuangalia maslahi ya nchi yetu. Mungu na wabariki wakati wote wananchi. Na sisi sote tusongee karibu familia ya huyu ndugu yetu Njoroge. Yale mimi naweza kuiga kutoka kwa maisha ya Njoroge ni haya, kwa sababu ukienda kwa mazishi, ukisikia maisha ya mtu, unajiuliza wewe mwenyewe, what can you learn from that person? You know you can be a leader in this country or in this world without occupying a position. Kuna watu wengine wako waongozi na ni bure zaidi kuliko huyu mzee. Ukiangalia mambo wamefanya, hakuna kitu wamefanya. Na ukisikia maneno ya Njoroge, hiyo mambo amefanya, vile aliweka jamii hapa pamoja, ile kazi amefanya, ni kama ni wajumbe watatu in one. Amefanya kazi ya wajumbe watatu mtu mmoja. Hakuja hapa kupiga mdomo ama kuja kuinsist kuwa anakalia kiti, lakini alifanya kazi ya muhimu. Ona sisi wote vile tumekuja kwa sababu ya mapenzi na kwa sababu vile tuliguzwa na huyu ndugu yetu. So na sisi pia tukiwa na nafasi hii, majaliwa ya Mwenyezi Mungu, tufanye kazi na tutendee wengine na mapenzi namna hiyo, na tufanye kazi ya ukweli ya kuonekana, ili wakati wetu wa kuondoka, kwa sababu kila mtu lazima ataondoka, siku ile ya kuondoka watu waseme hakika huyu wakati alikuwa hapa alitoa mchango. Siwe tu mtu tu hata hawana kitu ya kusema, wanajaribu kutafuta uongo kidogo kusema kuhusu wewe, sababu hakuna kitu ya kusema. Lakini huyu mzee huwezi kutafuta uongo kusema, kazi yake inaonekana, na sisi wote tuko hapa ni evidence ya vile alitukuza sisi. Mungu atatujalia wakati mwingine tukutane na Mheshimiwa Kores, mimi na Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na viongozi wa Jubilee. Mama, tutakuwa pamoja kwa kumaliza huo muradi ya mzee Njoroge. Tutakaa na wewe, because this man was a true friend to my boss and my president. He was a true friend, and everything I have heard about him was about how he was a genuine and sincere person, and those people are very few in this society. Watu wengine dunia hii ni mikora tu. Lakini mtu kama huyu who was very sincere, very honest, contributed so much, the least we can do, wale ambao tumebaki, is to advance that cause ya tukae na wewe, tusimame na wewe. We will not replace him. Sisi tutazungumza maneno tu, lakini tutakuombea Mwenyezi Mungu na tutasimama na wewe na hawa marafiki zake wote akina Ken, na Mwenyezi Mungu atawashikilia watoto wenu, watoto wako na wajukuu. Na kwa sababu ya wema wake na kazi ile alitenda, sisi kama Jubilee tutazidi kumuenzi huyu mzee na tutakaa na nyinyi tushirikiane wakati wote. Mungu na awabariki na Mwenyezi Mungu na awafariji. And may the Lord shine his face upon you, mami. You know, you may see this as a dangerous time, but biblically you have entered a very dangerous group of people. That dangerous group of people is called widows. The Lord says in scripture, they are mine, ni wa Mungu. Hakuna mtu atakuuza, wewe ni wa Mungu. Na tunakuombea Mwenyezi Mungu akushikilie by his mighty right hand, and that Njoroge's children and grandchildren may walk in the wonderful legacy he has left behind for all of us, and the best example that he has left in this society, to the honor and glory of God. Thank you.
Wancho muri chine chinkwana chiaya mokonyi bumarewe kama kiregia Jubilee Dr. Fredo Kenga Matiangi akwana somo yigori wa matanga sikwa yuri kabatebanga igo higanga ebono higo chiko kutulia nsa ya Kenya na bego kutulia na kubarusiri musigo mweto aba Kenya bagendete gwitira sengencho yechibango chinyinge chiri bakaba bakorusiribwa yento kero kuma bwa Kenya kokonga kiteka cyo tukene 50 na 3 igori chinsenye chabona mambio mu rubini Etorobini togendete komore kendro Etorobini na kuligiria mangana how the siasa na legendete kokoreka nemense ya Kenya nene ekari tukirero yedi tukuria Eid al-Adha yedi tukuri motumoko manene imeyense mahane mense ya Kenya na senchi ya bene ketoshkiro motumoko mutangani nigo nkoirali bakalia bene kobaganilia haba mintokorwa sekaniseria yege Islamu Eid Mbaraki senchera ya bene kwende tokina tomasagoska tochikuru guchinkwana chaye Edgadi Gashagwa burete ka okwana somo yego ya mabwa matanga me county area ya Nakuru nigo tomasagoske kiagara Etorobini nigo chikondra ko moreka insege ke kermotu na ira glass kia mache nende tuchikogendera.
Eye Y'Ensoko TV, uboroso bumugusi. Magega ya television Y'Ensoko wikasero yao. Kwa nyori baga ligi yaliyokuralia asegete sena mbeyemo imena isiko yeliroba liyagusi. Onye kubwa tokuralia wokwenyulia ogukwa gose okubonchulia. Bono na bokonyoli bagali ya bene liyokuralia asegete senike asoliguri liyake busani tulikere gose twakere simigwetere namba yaito yobonchulia 0788666662. Obutindiro bosombasi amate ninki kere tokore
Asamari etangoro ko munyagitari bosire koru Betami Rehabilitation Center. Betami Rehabilitation Center togotoka asegusi ensemo ya Gesonso na Nairobi ga ogoche ensemo ya Ungatarunga Xerian Road. Ime ya Betami nigo togo konya abantu bari amaruna amaryogo yogotindi asariri obongo bwabo. Togo konya abantu buna umwana funzi orenge kwa ende university ongere gotumia maruna mariogo yogotindi amosariri wana ikireke wango guikarwali panya oroyo onde orenge ko ende kanisa otigire onge akonywa mariogo yogotindi na amaru abasari erio twabaretaga Betami twabarwali erinde obugima bwabo bwirane gochaso obugima obi
asamange twakirisimya namba 0706840844 Betami Rehabilitation Center lichi buri gukora cingatare icyo butindu. Ine nuganete betri uratumia segari yao ebetri ugucakirimo ugakweba ebetri ulegene cinga kichonsi ebenga kiyeriberera gosenga kiyobokendu tawe chandika Autobat Kenya Limited no tulegigiga asengichao nigo tokorosia na koni chipetiri uratumia cinga kichonsi chibetiri uratumie asegalienke ebasi no nyaneli kurukuru.
Tunapopitia pale kwa gari yako tutahakikisha tumeweka na tumekupimia charging system ya gari na pia tumekupimia battery na kila kitu itakuwa iko sawa.
Alright. Sasa na ikileta shida kabla hii warranty ishe itakuwa namna gani?
Ikikusumbua kabla ya warranty utakuja alafu tukishaiangalia tutakupatia battery ya kushikilia tukiendelea kuangalia yako.
Talia yoka na battery yechinguru.
Battery ya Autobat ni betri ambayo ni spill proof, kumaanisha hiyo betri haimwagi acid ile ambayo iko ndani. Hiyo betri imetengenezwa na calcium. Kama vile unajua calcium hainanga water loss, kumaanisha sasa hiyo betri hakuna wakati ambayo inakauka hiyo acid.
Asamange twakirisimi namba 0739697855.
Kwa wale watu wa kuja mstatiwa, wachana na betri kama hizi. Tumia Autobat. Betri ni Autobat.
Mrna nabali b'ekinguru erikwe manyabona wataka kurukitananya cyense. Frida Kerubo, Innocent Onyango, Clinton Ondigi, Diana Ndemo, Ishmael Mogere, Linet Nyambane, Daniel Omwaga, eke na kigekos kiamesa yamangana maya.
Painapi, kuratiga asa majeta nkuru kumilka sibira. Daiga setore igakoro kwa Y'Ensoko TV. Oboroso bwomogusi. Ikaransa towe amotwensi tobwaterane.
Unana nyore tomanchu no moga komito. Nigo yaringe sasa vaya moga sari taoni. Nigo yaringe sasa vaya moga sari taoni.
Kera kama tenga tara, daige taoni ya nyamira na rena shauri sangwe.
Muligari Y'Ensoko TV oyo no moroberio gwokongoria mareko na inje mwana mboka Etorobini Y'Ensoko turabe tukumira na kila litukulie iki guchakira chinsa 11 cha mogoroba wikenseyemo ya butuko kugwakorire mirimo yawo yerituko kwabokire orosete uikaransitero ya ubwe andajita sekerugo orambulete merondo kunyagusibero ngori na aria seskrini ni chingero chikoletwo na mwanambuka Etorobini Y'Ensoko ano tukonyora chingero chionsi echiegita na chobenga kwa nubukano echiembegetere ndo gesongengo twamiriria
bakaliya omoto yakabwatwa obe bakaliya omoto yakabwatwa amatukemeronge na gaika kabwatwa
mwancho muligereri Y'Ensoko TV egeta sena mbeyemo aseliro balia gusi aiga no mugusi yakwa yulibaga na konyara kobaga gotegererwo ase chinse 24 asa matuko atanabera seiki mwancho muligereri Y'Ensoko TV nechikobwata ase chi county cheto ibere chia gusi ekse county ya Nyamira na county ya Kisii ase njira yoboikeranu na nene mono ntonyare ko batoko genda ase bali bali chinse mo chirisko ya gusi ase chinse mo bune chana kuru mwancho muligereri elitonyara ko batoko wa omugusi ora sense mo ya nakuru libaga elianyara ko bakoigwewa na nene mono ntonyare ko batoko so ase chinse mo Childoret no mugusi ore ase chinse mo Childoret nenyara nyara ko bakoigwewa mwancho muligereri ntonyare ko batoko genda ase bali barasa masamba una chinse mo chiamolo aliaso mugusi yale enuletie tunyare ko batoko ireke gusioro no mugusi anyare ko bagakoigwegwa asenchera enkeranu chinsemo chia Mombasa tunyare ko batoko ikoro nelio mugusi nere anyare ko bagakoigwegwa asenchera enkeranu aiga omwancho muligereria segeta seni Y'Ensoko TV no gotuchi ko batoko kora eke korugeito tunyare ko batoko gekora asenchera bwenerete mwancho muligereri aiga ntokoreri bina nekera obwato muchando wasiririo yo mino mwancho muligereri tunyara ko batogo koraleria okorali kwa nyagosira asenchira ebwenerete Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bwomugusi
ubugima n'urugendo rubwatamange amaya n'amabe Omusakito Linet Nyambane niga ngaririe imena isiko ya gusi na gusanga naba yaeteire naba yaetera.
Nchekera na ibole twe unango tebiwa na ibole tukinde buya ngakina kinde buya ekera na chiwe ke miya kasta ngachaka ndifero po ngoira samago wani kamanya gutukanga na twali roba wana wacha gitego
aya nime yo muroberyo bo mwenori kirali tukule Jumatano chinsa ibiri chabutuko ime Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bumugusi chinchira chito chigekoro nigo chirasoko goseli bokonene gosiriwa ne chinchira chekerero ekira kikiagire Y'Ensoko TV twachire guturigisa ku kyomugusi kurwa soko limera asendiba y'abanyandwarero
oboroso bw'omugusi bwegekirwe omugusi bono n'ekinjira kyago gwikansanse nakobeka TV yawe kwene kingangwe somya oregekoro ky'omugusi
wetero muroberyo bw'igekoro byaitu hasi tokomera nabaga kabasamwerere nabwigabange nabanyika eligo kwanero okweboya chindagira amasikani chinyangi nemejega ao y'omugusi
kera lituko ria ramisi chinsa ibere igoro ime TV yawe na mbe Y'Ensoko TV
na Stephen Nyarike Mbunde tolende ekimira
eye Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bw'omugusi
Yegoro yeito ime Y'Ensoko aye Y'Ensoko Yegoro yeito ime Y'Ensoko aye Y'Ensoko ibyengia yagire ngumanga bunalero aye Y'Ensoko
ine asama kiaya mbireo seino mbireo asama tuko amaega obugima bwakira lituko bwomugusi nigo bwale gosirwa nobolemi likomera liburga lisamora byonsi asekerenga yokobeka ase ekiage ekemo ningi keire libaga likiage asenka yomugusi nobonchereria noborokia nobonyanyimbo gose nobwagachi asomoroberio wikiage kyomugusi nobe gokumerana na inche Frida Kerbo kera litukoria ijuma chinsa ibere chamugoroba astogosanga nomugusi kurwa chingongo eliokumanya naki bakwenyorera engere yabo ya kera lituko omocha
ebagotebang'o yogose komwerio nero gose kabuya maiga yokonyora mang'ana mange korwa segete seni kia usigete Y'Ensoko TV bonigo yaikirenga kingo koreta Nyasaye nigo ndakoretero murobiri kurkunga amegerio yebebelia murobiri nigo ndaorete amuna basomba banyasaye abu astra ko batukwegera lingana sobwagare nantalia yoka nonyora matera noena masabo noborori ntunyare koba tokorwa ayamkira lituko liye sabato liye abande bagotebanga Jumamosi abande batebanga Saturday chinsa 12 chamambia ugweka chinsa ibere tomocha gekora ncho mulisyo ngaga nabasomba banyasaye ntokoletere umurubiri bweleso seseni eye Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bw'omugusi
karibu nendo mwancho mwirelia chaburire jideka isano ne mwigoro chinsa isano chiabona mambia sentunda ya kabiri na yo mwere kigi maso murubiri Etorobini mambia bonega to ganta kusanga mondo kumurikira legendre te kokerekana imeyense ya Kenya se bonega to guchikuliria ya gendrete mwancho mwere ni gobono musubati mutangani bwense ya Kenya musubati Rachel Ruto aikira sese mubagano safari park barabara ne barene ya Thika Road asa guchikusanga na basubati bande uchingara litko uri omwaka uchimirunge litko linene iri omwaka uchimirunge onomo ya prayer day y'abasubati imeyense ya Kenya goseko kunga international prayer breakfast day y'abasubati imeyense ya Kenya asa uchikomena masubati bande iriyo banyara wikirania masabo imeyense ya Kenya bone gobereka wikirana ase mubagani safari park ese bagane tawo korebi karabya masabo ase enseme yona ase bintu ubasi na ase mende muncho mwere niko bona banyanyimbo babatere libuko bwato kachimbo nde cya masasi igoro yembeo iriyo ko basabarania abantu bali abikirana iriyo konyara kuibachi gose koira chibando mega yeturake yemokogwa SSM area imeyeka SSM ya county ya Murang'a SSM area ya Kabati ime county area ya Murang'a asebone abanyanyimbo babetere ko butayigoro cy'amasasi iriyo ko baseria aba Kenya gusaba n'inche bekana SSM yegali yagwa iriyo koira chibando yegali iyo ya imogetie gose cyarenge chimiliyoni cy'ikibesa nonyanigo nigo abanyariko bako baseberania na babere ko abako Rusia senseme yo nabono nigo bokonyi bogendrete mega yetraki yabwo chibando ugo ko Rusia boroso na kogwanse na goturunka na marange mwache muri atogosika motubono nigo oyo kabere omokonyi ibwo moraibwe nsara bigo moraibwe kama keria gia DCP Geoffrey Gadi Gashagwa eso kiribene na kwenda kugikiria makweli ayogana tokwene kibasa matukawango iga imeye serikali ya William Samoei Ruto gukwana akuroso munyega goko mwenia omunya sira musubati Reverend Catherine Masharia uyore umuruvyo ye Bishop Dr. David Masharia which kanisa chicha Full Gospel Church of Kenya nigo nsema ya Hustle imeye county ya Nakuru nigo gashagwate birenga ibikorwa bitokarekana imeye serikali igo biro byokwa byanene hesa kwanire igo rebore ndi bomara ibwensero manyene mayaga yumonto ya moko mubwate bigoti bya ase arenge sebikaro imeye county ya Kilifi amatuko abwango igasate birebono uyo bwa Kenya nigo bora sa kongo nyongimo bomara ibwense bora sa kongo aba Kenya barabunga yobugima bwa bori asabarakane ga kugikiria oborendi ibwense ya Kenya nabatene boborendi obwense wa Kenya so yobanga kugikiria mono nere gashagwa talionde kutatiga umwe waziri oborendi ibweime Kipchumba Onesimus more commentary ngi chinkwa na chiaye Geoffrey Gadi Gashagwa kurwa chinsemecho chia Nakuru.
I want to say that General Overseer, please accept our heartfelt condolences for the loss of your dear wife, the mother to your children, and as you have given testimony, a pillar in your ministry. It is very hurting. It is very heavy to lose a spouse and a companion. We can be here to tell you we know how you feel, but we can't. Ours is to pray for you and to ask you to be strong with your family, and also to say Paul to the church, because Reverend Catherine was also your pillar and also a servant of the Lord within the church. I want to ask watoto wa mchungaji, please stay near your father. Losing a companion is not easy. Your father is hurting. He has lost a companion. Even those who are out of the country, take time to call him. Those who are here, create time and spend with him, because it is not easy. The General Overseer has told us that the Reverend Catherine was a strong pillar in his ministry, which means once more he is also has lost a strong supporter in the church and his work as he leads this great church. So ours is to ask the bishops and all those who serve under him, please support the General Overseer. Pray for him and support him in his work. Be obedient to him like you have always been, but even more now. Be more kind to him and hold his hand as he struggles to come to terms with the reality of what has happened. I want to pay great tribute to the Full Gospel Churches of Kenya for your great contribution in the spiritual nourishment of our people. This church has taken care of many souls. The Church of Christ is a very important pillar of our society, because when people get in trouble, the first place they run to is their minister, is their pastor. You play a very great role. And I don't think whether somebody has ever bothered to thank the men and women of God who are anointed for the sacrifices that you do. And if you want to know how a country is performing, you don't need to read the economic survey. You don't need to read books and reports written by the National Treasury on how the economy is performing. Just ask the anointed men and women of God how the economy is performing, and they'll tell you. Those who have no school fees, they knock on their door. Those who have no food, they knock on their door. Those who have no money to take their children to hospital, they come to them. That is why I am a very strong believer of a very strong partnership between the church and the state. I am a great proponent of listening to the ground, listening to the Kenyans. If you really want to know what is happening in this Kenya, don't bother listening to these politicians. Talk to church ministers. Talk to pastors. And they'll give you first-hand information of exactly what is happening around the country, because they live with the people. And that is why, Mheshimiwa Kimani Ngujiri, we are still very unhappy that 3 weeks after the killing of the Reverend Dumia of PCA Church, the people who killed him are still scot-free. I've seen TV footage is there, showing 4 police officers getting into his house and staying there for 3 hours and torturing him. Today there is cover-up, they have not been arrested. And we are saying, if the men of God are not safe, who is safe in this country? That is a question I had asked 2 weeks ago. But the events of the last 2 days have even brought a bigger question. When the president himself has been attacked, so you ask, if the president is not safe, who is safe in this country? Eh? Si rais amevamiwa? Mtu ametoka huko, amekuja ameshika yeye shingo, anataka kumunyonga. Ndio askari wote wanakimbia kupiga hiyo mtu. Walikuwa wote wamela. Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, mhubiri ameuawa. Hapa Nakuru ukora umezidi, sodomi nini, askari wote wamelala. Tunauliza sasa, kama rais mwenyewe anavamiwa, mchungaji anavamiwa, Wakenya wataenda wapi? Tulivamiwa kanisani ya ACK Witima for 4 months, hakuna mtu amekamatwa. Kanisa ya PCA ikavamiwa, hakuna mtu amekamatwa. Nchi yetu imekuwa nchi ya goons. Huwezi jua polisi na goon tofauti ni gani. So tunakaa tu hivyo, kwa sababu kuna maafisa ya polisi walikuwa wameenda Haiti to help the people of that country to deal with the criminal gangs. Lakini inaonekana walienda benchmarking to know how to work with the gangs, because tagu warudi gangs wako kila paha. So sisi hatuna maneno mingi, mchungaji tunasema pole, we are very much together. I don't want to speak politics today, other than I just comment mchungaji moja hapa aliongea, bishop akasema mambo ya watu wanaweza choma nchi hii. I want to talk on matters peace in this country, and more so when I'm in Nakuru County. Nakuru County has borne the brunt of ethnic violence from 1992, 97 and 2007. We don't want to see what happened here in Nakuru and Rift Valley ever happen again in this country. Na sisi tunaomba wale viongozi wanatembea na rais huko Mombasa to stop drums of war, to stop threatening communities. In Mombasa mtu naitwa Hassan Omar amethreaten Wakikuyu. Mtu naitwa Amason Kingi anathreaten Hawa. Huyu John Badi anasema hii Wakikuyu wasitafute uongozi mpaka 2032. Sisi nasema hatutaki jamii yoyote kutishwa Kenya, kwa sababu katiba ya Kenya inasema kila mtu ako na uhuru ya kuwa na mali popote katika Jamhuri ya Kenya. Na wale watu wanakaa hapa Nakuru, this is your home and you have no other home. Wale wote wanakaa katika bonde la Ufa, this is your home and you have no other home. Na hatutaki viongozi kutisha watu wengine. Katiba ya Kenya inasema kila mtu wako uhuru apige kura pahali anataka. Na therefore mimi sitaki mtu auziwe uoga. Ati muambiwe msipopiga kura namna hii ati sijui mtafanya nini. Nasikia watu wakisema hii Wakikuyu wasiongee sana, unajua wako kila pahali Kenya. Hiyo ni vitisho. Kwani wanatakiwa wakuwe wapi? Si ni Kenya? This is Kenya. And everybody is free to have property anywhere within the Republic of Kenya. So I'm asking those leaders, wawache to profile a community for no reason. The Mulima community is an honorable community that has worked hard in this country, that has contributed immensely to the economic development of this country, and a community that is loved by other Kenyans. Tumeona majamii wengine wote wanawatetea because wameenda wanakaa vizuri na kila mtu. Ni watu hawana maneno na mtu yeyote. Wakienda Kitale they settle there na kukaa vizuri. Wakienda Loitoktok they settle na kukaa vizuri. Wakienda Mpeketoni wanaketi vizuri. Tunaomba hiyo jamii pia iheshimiwe. Ipatiwe nafasi kama jamii zingine. Itafute mali, invest pahali wanataka kuinvest. Hata wakitaka kuoana huko wazae watoto wapewe nafasi waoe wengine, ndio hii Kenya ikue moja. Mimi naomba jamii zote tuoane. Tunataka kuwa na Kenya moja ambaye haina jamii hii na jamii ile. So hiyo maneno ya kutisha watu, Bwana Murkomen, hatutaki. Hakuna haja. Instead ya kutisha Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, kuja kwanza ukamate wale waliua Reverend ya BCA hapa Nakuru, upeleke kotini. That is the work you should do. As we speak, watoto 23 every day wanapotea. Nimeona msemaji wa polisi akisema ati hakuna shida, ni vile social media inaeleza sana ndio wanaonekana kama ni wengi. 23 children missing every day for the last 2 years. That is over 10,000 young children. So tunataka wewe waziri uachana na Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Rais Uhuru Kenyatta alistaafu. Hako kwake Shaweli na kula mali yake na wajukuu. Alifanya kazi yake akaenda nyumbani. Akapeana nchi bila matatizo. Uwezi kuwa ukipata shida kila siku unasema ni Uhuru Kenyatta. Sasa Uhuru Kenyatta na hako kwake utamuingilia na jia gani? Sasa Uhuru Kenyatta ndiye amefanya SHA isifanye kazi? Ni yeye. SHA inafanya kazi? Si Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta ndiye aliua Gen Z. Uhuru Kenyatta ndiye ameua PCA Reverend. Sasa nyinyi muachane na Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Don't blame Uhuru Kenyatta for your failure. Alipatia nyinyi serikali muendeshe. Alafu mtapatana na raia huko mbele kwa debe. Leave Uhuru Kenyatta to be. He is retired, but that does not mean he is tired. Ako na ruhusa ya kusema chochote kwa sababu yeye ni Mkenya. Na yeye pia alisema anasikiza ground. Si akisikiza ground lazima aongee. Aseme vile anasikia. Nyinyi mnasikiza ground? Mnasikiza? Muendelee kusikiza. Sitaki kumuuliza vile mnasema hapa ni kanisani. Sitaki kuuliza hapa ni kanisani. So please our people, mupendane na mukae pamoja. Majamii zote Nakuru mupendane. Hatutaki kusikia jamii na gombana na ingine. Na msisikize hiyo wanasiasa. Umeona wanasiasa pale magharibi wanapiga kelele ati hata rais asipopata kura ati wataiba. Sasa mtaiba kura ya Wakenya tukiwa wapi? Ati Tanzania na Uganda ilifanyika. Hii Kenya hapana Tanzania. Hii hapana Uganda. Hapa hakuna mtu anaweza tawala miaka 40, Wakenya hawezi kubali. It's not possible. So don't threaten people mtaiba uchaguzi. Kwa sababu hiyo ni kutisha watu. Na hakuna haja kutisha wananchi. Na kura hakuna mtu ataiba. Kura tutapiga na ihesabiwe hapo kwa polling station. Na mshindi atangazwe na ikuwe namna hiyo. So please relax and don't be worried. Those threats are empty. Those are empty debes that are making noise. Eo ne bwera aria igwa. Don't worry, there is no problem in this country. We have a constitutional democracy and everybody has a right kupigia kura ile mtu ambaye unataka. Kanisa mtuombee na muombee nchi yetu, so that ile shida tuko nazo in the next 15 months tuweze kuvumilia, alafu tuende kwa uchaguzi tutatue mambo yetu. Muombee wa Kenya wavumilie, shida ni mingi lakini tuvumilie, msikufe roho. Vile tunamwambia overseer avumilie machozi ya kifo cha bibi yake na mama mzazi wa watoto wake, hata nyinyi muvumilie zile shida iko. Hata kama SHA haifanyi kazi, wewe vumilia. Hata kama watoto university hawaendi, vumilia. Tuko na suluhisho mwaka ujao. Kuvumilia tu kidogo. Hata jaa ya mwaka mmoja namalizwa na sahani moja. Sitakuwa namna hiyo. Sasa unajua mimi nimeona kila mchungaji hapa alikuwa anasema mimi niko na mke wangu, inua mkono. Sasa hata mimi unajua sasa unajua ukikaa na hii wachungaji, unajua nyinyi wachungaji nimeona mnatembea na mabibi zenu. Mimi nimejua kwenu. That's why I also walk around with my wife. Because that's the right thing to do. Sasa nyinyi kama mngekuwa na siasa, mngeambiwa na kina Ichung'wa mmekaliwa na mabibi zenu kwa sababu ya kutembea na hawa. Sasa kutembea na bibi hiyo ni kukaliwa. Unajua watu wengi wataka kutembea na mabibi zao kwa sababu si watu straight. Si ndio? Si watu nini? Si watu straight, wako na mambo mingi. Sasa wakiona Rigiji anatembea na bibi yake wanasema, "Oh, huyu kwa nini anatembea na bibi amekaliwa?" Sasa bibi nani yako? Kwani ukitembea na yeye unatakiwa uulize ruhusa ya mtu? Utauliza ruhusa ya mtu? Wewe kama hutaki kutembea na bebe, unataka kutembea kama muhoni, si utembee kama muhoni. So mama boys, edogeuke haya naona. Sinaona. Si hata mimi nifanye vile wachungaji wanafanya. Si hata yeye akuja inue mkono. Najua tukienda kanisani tunasoma mambo mingi. Reverend Dorcas alikuwa rafiki sana wa Reverend Catherine, na wachungaji mkinikubalia, kwa heshima naomba nimpatie tu nafasi, mkinikubalia aseme jambo.
Mwanjo mwagiria yokawiro maraibwense nabigo maraibwe magia DCP Geoffrey Gachagua nibagateanga ikakiro montata no muribya yese bagochese misangarekano ao tanga bali batagotana barui babo ikobwate mbali gose inchira chiabo nchiringia ikokarutano murubyo igere inchira gose gere nginchige yo kwene kyo bwanchani bwate kuchiso murubyo kolende okwanekerekyo murubyo ye bali Gachagua Reverend Dorcas Gachagua nere nigo anyimwinyoire nyagosira Catherine Masharia abuna omorai bwikristo obwanchete bonsi nabayigo bwato marembe kerengaki nabayigo musubati orengo yogwechingurese aganiri enka yaye Bishop David Masharia otwaro baremo hanene chingaki chigabagendete kumurera nyagosira Catherine Masharia.
Our general overseer, a brother and a friend, together with your children, Ruth, Roy and Rehab, and the entire clergy. I'm feeling very down today because I've lost a good friend I've known for 19 years. And in those 19 years, I saw a humble, present, a woman who cared about the vulnerable communities. When it came to the Dorcas ministry, of which I was part, and which the full gospel has been of great assistance to me in the Njoro local church, where Bishop Kimani was there previously, the late Karianjahe, and now Bishop Godfrey. We have over 500 widows, which you take care. And it feels very bad to lose a woman who cared with the heart. That's why we were connected, because what she ascribed to, I also ascribed to that. She did not only fear God, she did the ultimate thing. she served God with all her heart and with everything. And in God's agenda, a woman is a helper. And I know she was a pillar to you and a foundation to the children and your home. It is my prayer that the Spirit of the living God will guard your hearts and wipe your tears, strengthen you, and put you on a foundation that you will not feel that very big gap, but the Lord God himself will step in for your biological family and also the spiritual family. May God really take care of the many women who have seen, and since you came, our Geo, I have seen great change in the church. Hey, people are very smart. And you can see because you have a family and you are taking care of it. And she was there as a helper, as she was called by God to do. You have found everyone else now is following. You are good mentors, as it says in 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 to 7. An overseer is a one of one wife and straight in everything that he does. And you see now, a family that we are seeing there is a family the Bible tells us. And you have lived to the full gospel. May God continue to bless you. Thank you very much.
Monte moya tugotigana yobono tuske gochia sangao ase mokonyi bo muraibwense Professor Abraham Kidure Kindiki haikandese bikaro birebya International Sugar Organization Conference ibia emerongo etano no mona gatano to 68 ibia korekana tego sibiwende to korekana ime ya Diani county ya Kwale ese ibigo okwanira amangana mangana nesa sector ye esukari yo mochando yendete kwenekio ime yense ya Kenya nonyanigo nigo hakwandringa ego sinige esukari ya beriko bagego konga imeyense ya Kenya asese ngencho ya high production go sabonyoli igwibirengo burigoro ebintu binde aba igosenigo abalimi bakonyora kibesa kirense egati amakongwande agate kubatenia sector yesukali imeyense ya Kenya bikarebyo nigo bigenderete ime ya Diani ase okindiki outreaching kwana chiaye chiabena nigo bigende no barai au kurwa chinse au nabayigo na abawaziri au kurwa wizara imeyense ya Kenya trodinge chinkwana chiaye Abraham Kidure Kindiki.
I am honored to join you today as we officially open the 68th seminar of the International Sugar Organization, an event of great significance hosted for the very first time in Kenya. And I want to join our Agriculture Minister, Mutahi Kagwe, in thanking the ISO for choosing Kenya as a venue for this seminar. To our guests again, as the Minister and the Governor has already said, we extend a very warm welcome to Magical Kenya, Karibu Sana, and feel free to explore the rich magical heritage our country offers. To the International Sugar Organization, the government and the people of Kenya appreciate that you honored us to host this conference, and we believe we will meet your expectations. We hope so. Ladies and gentlemen, sugar is far more than a commodity. It is a covenant between a nation and its people, as it is consumed in almost, if not every home in our nations. Sugar is an important ingredient to most of our foodstuff. It is utilized in immense volumes daily in the baking of pastries, brewing of beverages, sweetening our lives, and providing the much-needed energy. Every hectare of sugarcane that sways in the breeze anywhere in the world represents a family's livelihood. Every meal that turns represents employment. Every ton of sugar that reaches the market represents labor, hope, and investment of thousands of men and women who rise before dawn to tend their farms. This is the deeper meaning of what we do when we gather in forums such as this one. We are not just discussing a crop or a market. We are discussing the dignity of farming communities, the resilience of developing economies, and the future of millions of people across Africa, Asia, Latin America, and elsewhere in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, here in Kenya, the sugar sector has suffered several challenges in the past, and I'm sure the same is the case in your own countries, at least some of your countries. The industry was weighed down by inefficiency, institutional lethargy, high production costs, and a regulatory environment that did not inspire confidence. Farmers were underpaid, mills were underperforming, investors were understandably cautious. The government of Kenya, in this administration of William Ruto, President of Kenya, made a deliberate choice to transform this subsector in several ways. One, restructuring the sugar board to make it leaner, more transparent, and more effective. Two, engaging with millers on clear performance standards. Three, bringing in the private sector to provide investments to run our sugar mills, as the Minister for Agriculture of the Republic of Kenya has just said. We have also, in this administration, initiated the revival of state-owned factories through leasing these factories to the private sector, which has attracted quite some serious private investments. We have worked to bring discipline and predictability to sugarcane pricing so that farmers can plan and invest in their farms with greater certainty. I am proud to report to you, delegates, that these efforts are beginning to bear fruit. Farmers are gradually gaining confidence in sugarcane farming. Investment interest is growing from our private sector. Output is improving. The planted acreage is increasing. And our national production is steadily on an upward trajectory. But we are under no illusion. There is still much work ahead, and we are committed to seeing it through. Distinguished delegates, as we look to the future of this industry, I would like to underscore that the model of producing raw sugar alone is no longer sufficient for all of us. The world is changing, energy systems are transforming, consumer preferences are shifting, climate pressures are intensifying, and the global movement towards sustainable circular economies is no longer a distant ambition. It is an accelerating reality. The sugar industry of tomorrow must be integrated and diversified, one that produces sugar, yes, sugar, but also ethanol, sustainable aviation fuel, renewable energy, bio-based chemicals, and other high-value industrial outputs, one where nothing is wasted and everything has value. In Kenya, we are already beginning to move in this direction. We are encouraging cogeneration projects that allow sugar factories to generate and sell electricity. We are exploring the expansion of ethanol production as a blending component for cleaner transport fuels. And we are investing in the research and development necessary to make our industry more competitive and more sustainable over the long term. In Africa, or across Africa, we have vast underutilized sugarcane potential. The continent has the land, the climate, the labor, and increasingly the ambition. What we need, and what events like this help to catalyze, is the knowledge, the partnerships, and the investment to unlock that potential. Africa has been described as the youngest continent on earth. Our greatest asset is our people, and specifically our young people. But we will not attract young Africans into agriculture with sentiment alone. Young people are pragmatic. They follow opportunity. They go where innovation lives and where enterprise thrives. Our task as governments and industry leaders and as investors is to transform agriculture into the kind of sector that ambitious young people want to be part of. That means embracing digital tools and precision farming, creating agribusiness ecosystems that generate real wealth, and building the infrastructure, the logistics, and the financing systems that allow agricultural enterprise to flourish at scale. The sugar industry, properly transformed, can be a powerful vehicle for exactly this kind of economic inclusion for African youth. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot talk about the future of agriculture and industry without confronting the realities of climate change. Across Kenya and the broader region, we are witnessing the effects of a changing climate in real time. Rain patterns and volumes are often inconsistent, while droughts and floods are becoming more frequent. This unpredictable weather pattern is not a future challenge, it is a present reality demanding urgent response. Climate adaptation must therefore be embedded at every level, in the varieties of crops we grow, in the water management systems we employ, in the farming practices we deploy, and in the resilience of the supply chains and manufacturing processes we build. The sugar sector can be part of the climate solution. Biofuels, renewable energy from bagasse, and circular bioeconomy models put the sugar industry in a unique position to contribute meaningfully to the global transition away from fossil fuels. No conversation about the future of agriculture is complete without an honest discussion about international trade. The global sugar market remains one of the most distorted in agricultural trade. Production subsidies, export support, and import barriers in various parts of the world create conditions that are deeply unfair to developing country producers who simply want to compete on the merits of their products. Kenya stands firmly in support of a rule-based, transparent, and equitable international trading system for agricultural commodities. We believe that a genuinely free and fair trade is in the long-term interest of producers and consumers alike. I call on all partners, and particularly those from major producing and consuming nations, to work in good faith toward trade arrangements that give developing country industries the space to grow, to invest, and to compete on a level playing field. The International Sugar Organization has a vital role to play in this regard, and we commend its continued commitment to dialogue, research, and advocacy on behalf of the global industry. Distinguished delegates, as you engage in this conference, I encourage you to write the future of the sugar industry boldly, wisely, and collectively to inspire growth, sustain hope, and ignite passion from our citizens. On behalf of President William Ruto, the government and the people of Kenya, I wish you exceptionally productive deliberations. May your time here in Diani be both fruitful and memorable. And on that note, I bring you greetings from the leader of our country, President William Ruto. He sends his greetings and wishes you well. And because my task was to officially open the conference, I have already discharged my mandate. And with those many remarks, it is now my honor, my privilege to formally declare the 68th International Sugar Organization Seminar officially open. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Obrigado. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Mes kodu obligade njeni soko kone ngani yo mwancho mwena wanyare ngane rumira maina noro beme kolende kwane kere kyo waziri yo wizara ayoboremi yesese waziri yoboremi Mudai Kagwe nere oyekrante sebi karebyo sengenchiro waziri woboremi se ya Kenya nigo abakere tembu ya mono hababwatani bonse kurwa chinse aho bekeneti na kwene kinge bi karebyo ngo byabera obigikirane senchira hire yabene tawutra chinkona chaye Mudai Kagwe.
Next to somebody, if you are a Kenyan and you are next to somebody who is not a Kenyan, please shake their hands. Please keep your hands up so that we know where you must leave. You cannot leave Kenya without shaking at least one person's hand. And there is a lonely one right at the back there. Please somebody walk there and shake their hands, because there is a guest. He must be from South America from the way he looks to me, but then again you never know. So distinguished guests and fellow Kenyans, first and foremost, let me take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the Deputy President for finding time to come here. We spoke yesterday. We agreed we are going to come to meet here at 9 o'clock. But His Excellency was so passionate about the whole thing about sugar that he actually got here before me. So Your Excellency, I want to particularly thank you and to really appreciate your time. I know the kind of schedule that you run, and therefore when you are here and you have come to welcome our delegates as well as meet the Kenyans who are here, we are particularly grateful, and I want you to know that we do not take it for granted. Before I say one or two things, let me also recognize one or two colleagues who are here. Since they are foreigners here, I want to show them how our members of parliament look like. You might think that they look different. So I want to first introduce John Bire, who is a member of parliament for Taveta. That gentleman is an elected person. So those of you in the sugar sector who carry out elections, this one is another one who is elected. I also want to introduce Eli Letipila. Eli, please stand up. From Samburu, from the area of Samburu North. Then I also want to introduce Cecilia Ngiditit, women's rep from Turkana. Karibuni sana, please feel welcome. So in Kenya, we have a saying that, and I don't know how many of you know it so far because it's very small, it's very easy to remember. It's called Hakuna Matata. I don't know whether you know that phrase. Hakuna? Yeah, so if you don't remember anything else from Kenya, please remember two things. The first one is Jambo. Jambo, you all know Jambo. This is not a lesson in sugar, it's a lesson in language. Jambo, and the second one is Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata simply means that you can have all the fun you want in Kenya, and there are no big issues. We are not a troublesome people. We are a happy people. And when I look around the room, I see also delegates from happy nations. So let me just say that agriculture in Kenya, and I will specifically want to welcome you as a CS for agriculture, where the sugar sector lies. We are particularly delighted that you chose this country to be the venue for this 68th sugar seminar, and I want to particularly thank the management and the authorities and the committee of the council for choosing Kenya. We want you to know that we are grateful, we feel honored that you chose our country to be. And particularly you chose Diani, which is one of our beautiful areas, and I cannot say anything else except that because the governor is here. You can imagine what you do if I didn't say that it was beautiful. So, Governor, I want you to know that we are also happy that you welcomed us to your county, and we are delighted to be here in
Wanchumwelea na kukwanekera kebikare by'omugabana bwe county ya Bungoma Kenneth Makelo Lusaka nigono nyanigo agandiki serikali chi county gokerania obakalio buya gucyasa bari mebe sukali bunenjere ya moyo kubasira nyanigo nigagandira monchiri gokoresa serikali na mone serikali ya chi county eliyo kwene kinga abaremi nkoba bare asali yana bayigo chi sukali chiri chikonya chikonyorwa nigo chigokonya abaremi nende tibe ebyebire echibirengo obyigoro.
On behalf of the Council of Governors, the constitutional voice of Kenya's 47 counties, I bring greetings from the grassroots of this economy, from the men and women whose hands are in the soil every single day. Gathered to discuss. Sugar is not a commodity at the margins of Kenya's economy. It's a pillar. The sugar sector directly supports the livelihoods of over 6 million Kenyans. Farmers, transporters, factory workers, input suppliers, traders, and the entire rural communities whose economies rise and fall with the cane cycle. It contributes significantly to our agriculture GDP. It anchors the Western Kenya economy in ways no other crop can replace. And every reform, every commitment must be measured against their lives. If it does not reach them, it has not succeeded. If it does not change their reality, it is noise. On the role of the county government, I must be unambiguous. Kenya's constitution is not silent on this matter. Agriculture is a devolved function. That is not a bureaucratic detail. It is a democratic design. Counties are not implementation agents waiting for instructions from Nairobi. We are constitutional partners in the development of this sector. County governments license farmers, support extension officers, develop irrigation and water infrastructure, manage land use and maintain the rural roads that move cane to factories. We are the last mile, and as in every supply chain, expert in this room knows the last mile is where value is either created or destroyed. Yet for long, county governments have been consulted after sugar policy is designed rather than during its conception. This must change. An inclusive sugar economy demands inclusive governance. The Council of Governors is calling for a formal structure.
Nigo mo women rep go somo tiroba subati meye county ya Nairobi Esther Mdoni Rosana Pasaris so kire na gukwanira bene igoro ya mukomento kwa mugori ya mabutege ntaene kina kubekatene ninga ubwe mwa Kenya nigo bwa kongire nonye nigo entokere gosema butagutira kwerere birengo bya magori y'ebintu aho gutira na gokunye bwa Kenya korende nigo abagikeire na kwa mucheboro abagati y'abagwatani bali bakunyamire serikali ase uko ose uko ogochochea amangana gose ogochochea igoro bututu kanubonga rete kwenekibwa igoro ya magori ya mauta ese bakunya kubanga ese korengana pasali sirigo bakungena bakenya na kubasiria ese ngencho nigo bagenda tokunga kirase na atali ogwancha kwa mabuta gutira emergency ya Kenya pasali singa ya kwaneta ya koru ase ebunge henenete yango turageria chinkwanicho.
With Kenyans, we understand that fuel prices increasing is going to give our people pain. Transport costs will go up, food prices will be affected, businesses will be under pressure. But we must resist the temptation to oversimplify the issues and mislead Kenyans for political mileage. The opposition is comparing Kenya's fuel prices with those of our neighbors without giving the full picture. Kenya has one of the most structured and transparent fuel pricing systems in the region under the Energy, Petroleum, and Regulatory Authority. Our prices reflect international crude oil prices, exchange rates, taxes, levies, transport, stabilization mechanisms, global tensions, rising crude oil prices have affected all the countries across the world. Taxes and levies contribute significantly to the pump price. Kenyans apply VAT, excise duty, road maintenance levy, petroleum development levy, and other charges. Parliament must, I agree, Parliament must continue to review these levies to cushion Kenyans where possible, but let us also tell Kenyans the whole truth. Some neighboring countries are cushioning fuel through subsidies and delayed price adjustments. Kenya has instead focused on ensuring a stable supply while managing fiscal responsibility. And this is where we must defend the government-to-government import arrangements. Madam Speaker, the G2G framework has constantly been attacked politically. Yet we must ask ourselves honestly, would we be worse off for Kenya and the economy, a controlled price increase or an actual fuel shortage? Because when fuel runs out, the economy does not merely become expensive, it becomes paralyzed. We have seen neighboring countries experiencing long queues, panic buying, rationing, supply disruptions. Kenya, despite the global shocks and foreign exchange pressures, has largely maintained fuel availability. Public transport continues operating, hospitals continue functioning, food continues reaching markets, businesses continue serving Kenyans because fuel remains available. The government-to-government arrangement was introduced to reduce pressure on our dollar reserves by allowing Kenyans to secure fuel on extended credit terms instead of immediate dollar demands. This has helped stabilize the market, protect the shilling from further pressures, and avoid supply disruptions. Madam Speaker, fuel powers agriculture, manufacturing, transport, electricity, generation, regional trade. A shortage would trigger inflation at levels worse than what we are currently experiencing. Now, as we debate the matter, let us also stop reducing national conversations into an attack against President William Samoei Ruto. The opposition today is bent on demonizing every action of the government, even where the intention is clearly to move Kenya forward. But in so doing, they forget the important lesson from the greatest opposition leader the country has ever produced, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, may he rest in peace. Even at the height of political tension, Raila Odinga understood one thing: Kenya must never burn because of politics. No matter how difficult the moments became, and even when he believed elections had not gone fairly, he reached moments where he chose the country over division, stability over chaos.
Wancho mugiriria cha tojide kemeronge ta na isa to figure chinsa isano chiaba no mambi kemanyero kya bene ngorbo tirwa ya pasaris na urogo to kyo moeria Etorobini yokumurika emambi yabonega kuregete seni kya bene Y'Ensoko TV kwende to masoske kya merobiri mengigo chere yogendrogo semina go kumanyana bayo ko gokya kuregete seni kya bene Y'Ensoko TV emambi yabonega tinna kyambori kwende gokwaneria weekend yosiku kwaneria eikieringi na bayo moyega obwe go serikali tukoria basiramu omuya somugaso bonega na tomi marena ende chinga kichinde tokandira gosanga mangi sogeteseni kya bene Y'Ensoko TV ngoro kwa Daniel Omwaga kuda botabe mega aye imenyoncho igotwa bwate director zake kama ona boigo Joshua Nyauma bene kiringa chibichira mario ya wikera senchera ere ya bene ngasati gari ko banaye chinga kichon Etorobini ya kiromo erio omugaso obonega.
Etorobini Y'Ensoko TV, oboroso bw'umugusi.